Welcome to SYNCcast powered by Commercient. I'm Heath McKnight. Joining me today is David Brabrook. He is the founder and managing director of AppSolve. And David, welcome to SYNCcast. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Thanks very much for having me. Yeah, as you say, founder of AppSolve. We've been, so we're a Salesforce implementation and consulting company. We've been in the space for about 10 years. I came into running the business from experience in sales, consulting, technology, and we're based here in Toronto. We work with companies all across North America. And I'm from the area, from a small town called Keswick, Ontario, and operating here out of Toronto now for some time.
Excellent. We spoke recently, and one thing that you said that I thought was pretty cool is your entrepreneurial spirit, and it seems to go back many years for you. And I was wondering, can you tell us a little bit about that? And from I believe college, if not earlier, but especially to how that led you to where you are at today, and also where AppSolve is at today.
Yeah, so the initial entrepreneurial experience that I had. So when I finished school, my background was more on the fitness and health kind of area, and I started personal training after university, and actually through that got a chance to learn a ton about sales. Worked for some larger companies that really wanted their teams to be able to sell. So really got sales 101 for the first time, which I got really interested in, but carried on and took the personal training experience to starting a business, personal training company. So training people in their homes, and really enjoyed that. And that was the first entrepreneurial experience, and really developed a love for that. And over time, had an experience of running a recruiting business as well. And so certainly some different industries, but started to develop that passion for sales, passion for consulting, and technology. And time went on. Put aside those entrepreneurial dreams that I had, and through carrying on in the sales and technology side of things, started to work at Salesforce.
Wow.
Back in 2013, and really loved it there. It was, best job I've had. Really brought together, so much of my passion for consulting and technology and sales, really allowing me to be, really use those consultative sales muscles and experience as a Salesforce account executive. And after just about a year and a half at Salesforce, decided that I wanted to go ahead and pursue my entrepreneurial dreams, but looking at things from, from that same ecosystem, but then looking at it from the partner side. So decided to leave Salesforce, and then in time start AppSolve. And so again, really brought together, of course, the entrepreneurial desires that I had, the consulting, technology, and the sales. Salesforce has so many modules now. Back then they were just acquiring ExactTarget to bring in marketing automation to the platform. They had sales and customer service at that time. Of course, now you can run your entire business on Salesforce, from finance, project management, ERP, e-commerce, and so decided to pursue that. And it brought together all that experience and passion, and allowed me to stay in the ecosystem. So and all of a sudden it's been 10 years running AppSolve, and get a chance to really come at things from a more technical perspective. Of course, running a software integration, Salesforce implementation company. So got more technical myself through 1,000+ evaluations and software implementation consulting projects, and became a certified Salesforce consultant myself now. And yeah, I can't believe it's been 10 years all of a sudden.
Yeah, right. And I know that Salesforce has been around. I mean, I think 25 years this year. And that's like, for me, I'm like, wait a second. I was
Yeah.
just getting out of film school, and I was making my little independent movies, and wow, 25 years. And yet it's still, you could argue that when you were there, it was still kind of early days. And I'm still shocked when I hear that companies don't have a CRM, or if they do, it's some ancient CRM that's stuck on a server. It's not in the cloud. They got a VPN. And a couple questions. First of all, why are companies, even to this day, still kind of, I don't know if it's resisting or just not as aware of the power of Salesforce? And then also, how does AppSolve, you and your team at AppSolve, help these companies to achieve digital transformation, which might be a buzzword, but really, when you see that they're using spreadsheets, and I always say this because what I hear, spreadsheets, notes, it's in their head, post-it notes, I mean, legal pad, you name it. So how are you helping these companies get to that stage where they're like, okay, we can finally modernize, digital transform our company, and really expand sales, marketing, et cetera?
Yeah, I think that, COVID brought a lot of awareness to the need to digitize even more than before. So I think it really accelerated things there. So I think a lot of companies are seeing the need for that, even just for the fact of needing to enable a much more virtual workforce.
Mm-hmm.
But I think everyone's expectation is that things are digital. And so the companies that we work with, their customers have certain expectations about the service that they're going to receive, and employees that our customers would have certain expectations around the tools that they're going to be able to use internally to do their job. So,
Mm-hmm.
quite a few aspects there. And then from the companies themselves that we work with, of course, there's a need to, especially these days, do more with less, need to become more and more efficient all the time. And, so much of what we, often talk about, being able to have all your information in one place, not be on multiple platforms.
Yeah.
Version control, kind of all the basics that we talk about. But when you start to get into larger and larger businesses where you've got multiple departments on one system, and a few people is one thing, we get to start multiplying that to 100,000, 10,000 people, having to do things twice, really starts to add up. At the end of the day, we really focus on key success metrics whenever we are talking with a customer who may be considering bringing Salesforce aboard, or who has Salesforce and is looking to do more with it, whether it need to align it better to their current business, or maybe they want to bring on additional departments. Maybe they started with sales, and there's value in bringing on their customer service team, their marketing team.
Mm-hmm.
But really, we want to look at what is the why. We want to look at, because there's obviously going to be a spend for the software, for working with a consulting company like us. What is the why? At the end of the day, we look at, measurable impact to the bottom line. Are we looking to increase revenue? Are we looking to decrease costs? And, and build it from there. So all the way from initial conversations through the sales cycle, we want to build out an ROI, which is going to be built off of one of those two things. And then we have a chance to start the project together. All of the project is based around that. So everything from the project kickoff, it's all focused on that, those key success metrics, the measurable impact of the bottom line. We'll go through the project, and we implement, and we go through all the change management. We go live with the system, and then we would have monthly check-ins to check in on adoption, check in on how things are progressing along those key success metrics, and really take that long view with our customers to ensure that it's being
Yeah,
met.
absolutely. And, change management, and maybe it's a little bit easier for a small company to kind of, the old turning a boat around versus turning an aircraft carrier, like a larger enterprise level business. But change management, Salesforce adoption, or even just adoption of specific apps within the ecosystem. You were talking about all that they offer. How do you and your team help with change management and increase adoption of Salesforce? So it's not just some, oh wow, that looks good, and they go back to their old habits. It's something that helps them to increase their sales, increase efficiency, decrease wasted time and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. We, of course, three basics we look at on a successful implementation. Of course, having the system customized to the business today, to the business to where they want to get to the next several months and years, ensuring that the data is there. There's typically going to be some historical data we would need to bring into the system, especially if customers moving from one system to another. You can't expect the team to embrace it if the things they did last week are not in the system, for example. So from basic sense. And then third, really, training effectively. So we always set up our training to make sure that we're addressing different individuals that are going to be on the system. So specific training set up for whether it's executive level individual contributors, of course, the different departments that they might be in, whether it's, field technicians versus customer service agent, obviously a lot of different aspects that they need to learn. So focusing on those three things on any project. And so the training side certainly really contributes to change management, and I feel like those three things really do as well. There's a lot of tailoring when it comes down to effective change management. So we're going to need to understand the dynamics within the business, how many people are involved in the project, of course, the different departments that it's hitting, some of the power dynamics within the business. There, it's when you're in services, every time you implement, your product is different every time when you're in services. So we look to tailor our change management to that individual business, and that's going to mean different types of sessions we would do, different types of collateral, different types of time-based goals. I find that tailoring is another key area for ensuring that customers can effectively go through that change.
Excellent. And you were talking about relationships, and you guys are there for the long haul. And sometimes there's companies, the consultant will get in and get out, get them set up, and those companies are actually often running pretty good. But others, they're like, okay, listen, we're just going to start with Sales Cloud. And they start to have a lot of success. And they're like, we've got so many apps. We've got an app for marketing. We've got maybe even 2 or 3 apps for marketing. We have 2 or 3 apps for this and that, and customer service and everything. And they want to get it kind of all under that umbrella and everything. How does that long-term relationship that AppSolve has with those clients as they grow and their needs with Salesforce grow as well? How do you guys address that?
Yeah, and that's very much where the name of the company came from. AppSolve 10 years ago.
Yeah,
much,
that's awesome.
less advanced than it was today. But a lot of companies were buying different software applications, and they would each be performing certain functionality. But several years of that, and all of a sudden there might be 5 different applications or more within the business, and they're just not talking to each other. And so it becomes very difficult to scale from there. So as far as taking a long value-based approach, there is that we do often talk about a crawl, walk, run approach, because we are typically in kind of the mid-market space, so we're not working with 50,000 companies, 50,000 person companies often. And so, budget is always a concern. There needs to be value achieved as quickly as possible. Need to really demonstrate that ROI that we would lay out in, initial conversations in the sales cycle. So it can work very well to start, let's say, start with a sales system, start to get value from that, start to achieve those key success metrics, and then start to talk about, maybe customer service. Maybe they're on a totally different application, and from a simplest sense, I mean, we wouldn't want a salesperson calling into an individual who is having a problem with the service right now. That's not going to be a good use of their time, and not great for that customer relationship. So really that whole customer 360 view, and having a complete life cycle of that individual person within your system, because at the end of the day, it's people working with people, and making sure that you have the ability to add value, all throughout that cycle, as a business who runs Salesforce and delivers service to their customers.
Excellent. And what industries does AppSolve serve? I was looking at your website. It looks like it's a really nice variety, a good mix.
Yeah, thank you. We have been focusing on a segment that is newer to Salesforce, maybe 4 years old now or so, but called manufacturing, automotive, and energy.
Yeah.
And that came really from our success stories. We, started the business. We were doing, very small, sales system setups with different industries. A lot of high tech, and a lot of professional services businesses. And in 2016, we actually implemented the very first Salesforce Field Service system in all of North America for Salesforce, for their SMB segment. And so, from there, that sent us down a path towards a lot of these companies that we're working with today, like, industrial machinery, manufacturing businesses, energy segment, and automotive service businesses. And so, we're seeing a lot of need for, digitizing and enabling the mobile worker for companies that are in, consumer repair, construction, different services that are around construction. So it's really those segments, but very much enabling the mobile worker. And, and that tends to bleed into multiple industries. We have an interesting offering for district energy providers. I think there's value there for telecommunication and utility companies, to help them really visualize their infrastructure, how their sales teams can sell intelligently, and how they can strategically build out their network to bring on more buildings, more customers, and more potential strong services. So that's where we've been focusing in the last while.
Excellent. And where does AppSolve stand in terms of, I believe it's number one as far as Salesforce Field Service Management software, correct? Is it in Canada, North America?
Certainly, at certain times, we have been number one in terms of field service implementations from a Canadian-based partner. Yeah, so it's been a really fun platform to be in. We were really there from the ground up. We were, had to do some learning on how to implement it ourselves. Documentation being put out, by the hour, from Salesforce, as it was a new offering from Salesforce back in 2016, and we would be brought in by Salesforce product teams to actually help businesses move into the multi-tenanted platform that we know and love so much, because initially Field Service was from Click Software, a company acquired by Salesforce, so it was not yet fully mobilized onto the full Salesforce in the multi-tenanted platform. So and then through the years, really been seen as an expert within that space. So
excellent.
Yeah, it's been a fun area to be in.
Excellent. And just real briefly, I think people and companies kind of have a general idea. I shared the last time we spoke, I live in the South. We're so far south that we joke that we're the North. I'm in Florida, and air conditioning is a must have. It's not oh, it'd be nice. And, now I have just two guys in a van doing my air conditioning. But before I was with one of those kind of overpriced companies, and they came by just to kind of do a little maintenance. And the guy, I was just kind of talking because, I'm asking him, and he said, yeah, it's kind of inefficient because, I'm here at your place, but then I got to go 20 miles north, and then I got to go 30 miles south, and it's so inefficient, and it's a waste of time and then somebody else is over here, and I'm picturing like paper and computer trying to organize all of that. And this is just an example. How does Salesforce Field Service Management help that? And it may not seem like a lot, at first, but those inefficiencies really start to add up and take a big bite out of profit and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's well, sort of the digitization of the core functionality within a field service business. We worked with companies in the past who that's all their work orders. So essentially from a company that would send people out in the field, from whether it's a customer service issue or maybe a new sale, the next step typically would be a work order, which would include a time and a location and work to be done. And so we had a customer who actually had work orders that were paper. And so technicians would come back from the day of work, and work orders were literally flying out of the truck. So,
oh my,
to come back, the business, couldn't even bill customers for the work that was done. So obviously a huge impact to the bottom line there. And then they would often come back where it was really difficult to read. So you'd have, whether it's, the administration department trying to bill correctly for work that was done, can barely read what was, on the work order. And so, fixing all of that just through digitization of that portion of the system. And, kind of going to the next step of the system where you look at, the actual technician, all of their entire day is all now built out into a mobile device. So businesses don't even have to have technicians show up in the morning to get their instructions for the day. They can go, as long as they've got their truck with the products that they need, they can go right from home into their day of work and just kind of go back to the head office whenever their products that are consumed on jobs needs to be replenished. And then from there, all the routing. So you mentioned that person who didn't have really great routing, so traffic based, first location. And all the rules that go into allowing all that scheduling to happen correctly. So certain technicians are specialists at certain jobs, and some that are not. Some require certain certifications, maybe needing to be an area with height or confined spaces. And so all of that is built into the system to send the right technician to the right location with the right routing, of course, to perform the job effectively. The digitization that takes place. So once they arrive at the location, all the instructions are there for them to perform the job. So then, onboarding gets much easier as you scale the business. Much easier to handle any kind of people changes that could take place. And then, photos easily, taken, uploaded onto the service report, so what was done at location, customer sign off right on the device. So, really streamlining that whole process. And then scheduling, which kind of is the core of all of that. So, that function that would start the process of having a field technician go out and perform work. All those rules are now built into the schedule. So if someone were to, call into a customer service team, they've got the same schedule loaded up, can easily, add someone in. And the really cool automation comes from really the automated scheduling that could come. So maybe it is a sales opportunity. That might be one that kicks off a process of beginning work, that automatically hitting a schedule. Huge savings there of time. We don't need, anyone spending kind of so much of their time just managing a calendar, for example. And so, we've gone through post-project case studies with customers and finding some really great results, like, having the same size field team being run by 1/6 the administrative team needed. So these individuals can go and work on much more revenue generating tasks for the business. So much cross-sell, upsell opportunity. A technician might go out for X job, see that, maybe another service could be provided. Maybe it's a piece of machinery next to it, type of thing. And that's all being communicated back to their company, back to their customer. And all this has rolled into seeing some amazing measurable impact to the bottom line. So increase in gross margin or job profit by as high as 40%. So it's been really amazing to see the impact to businesses through digitizing this whole experience.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, and if I am on a couple of metrics that you mentioned when we last spoke. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you said 28% decrease in work order scheduling time, that's almost a third, and a 15% increase in service revenues, which you were talking about, like maybe somebody's, doing maintenance on my air conditioner and they notice something's not working right. And, they could say, hey, this would be better if you install this, because it'll be a little bit cheaper now than 2 years from now when we're having to change the whole thing out and you're spending I wouldn't say $3,000, but you're spending, a good $1,000. So if I hope I'm right on those metrics, I was jotting them down, but it's just anything you just said, 1/6, they can of working on the administrative side, meaning, like you said, they can work on other projects to increase revenue. And at the same time, they're not having to bring on way more people and then create inefficiencies when it's really just a matter of making sure everything is there, ready to go. And we actually have a customer who they LinkedIn, they're using Field Service Management and Salesforce. And what we were doing is we were making sure that we were integrating serial numbers and if they had bought a warranty or not, if the warranty was in or out. They couldn't even measure how much money they were wasting on out of warranty repairs because of the fact that there was no way to track it. And it kind of made me think a little variation on, you're getting back and, half of my work orders just flew out the window that could represent thousands of dollars in billing. And somebody sitting there going, well, I just got a new free air conditioner. And that's a pretty good segue into Commercient SYNC. So, we are integrating ERP data, invoicing, customer information, serial numbers, order history, those types of things, and more really, over to Salesforce and Field Service Management. And we've had a couple of pretty successful implementations of Commercient SYNC. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the advantage of having that ERP data, be it QuickBooks up to SAP, Sage, Epicor, NetSuite, you name it. What are those advantages for not only the sales team, but the field service people out in the field having that access in Salesforce?
Yeah, well, certainly the enhanced efficiency from that, streamlining processes, cutting down on manual tasks, and, automating all those workflows between, whether it's from marketing, sales, all the way through to operations, automating as much of that as possible is just, huge efficiency gains there. Having all the, data consolidation, having all of that in one place, centralizing that information, everyone can access it easily, much more reliable. There aren't any need for multiple points of failure where information might need to be, re-inputted. So, huge impacts there. User
Yeah.
experience, when you can easily find that information. So what, your internal team having a much better experience, more productive, and better service for your customers. And at the end of the day, looking at reducing cost, because bringing in, integrating a system as opposed to, having to maintain many more of them.
Yeah.
So reducing redundancies, lowering operational expenses, the scalability from there too. So it really can help facilitate growth, in so many kind of basic examples. But again, when you look at performing the work that you do as a business, to have that, information easily acceptable from the point at which you're trying to win the work, or even very top of the funnel, market to these individuals that can in the future be customers, just has so many efficiency gains and better decisions. If you can, if you can get a full look at the business, especially individuals in leadership positions,
Sure.
you're able to gain by bringing operations and finance into a system, is that now you're bringing in margin and understanding where your most profitable work is, most profitable customers. And so, that just allows so much better decision making. And of course, with AI, being able to, the system bring that information to you and to be able to work off those incredible predictions, huge value there in integrating.
Yeah, absolutely. And Salesforce Einstein AI Solutions is a pretty big real. I mean, it's just a game changer for businesses and everything. I guess just a couple more questions. And before we wrap up, people out there, especially younger, I mean, it could be anybody of any age, but especially younger, they're kind of like figuring out, what do I want to do? And they're starting to get that feeling of that entrepreneurship and everything, that entrepreneurial spirit. What would be your top 2, 3, 4 tips for somebody who's a budding entrepreneur that's watching right now?
Yeah, well, I would say you'd want to squeeze the niche, really. Can't so you want to be pretty specific about the market that you want to go after. Get specific about your target customer, and work through that, and then squeeze the niche even more. Because if you try to be everything to everyone, that's very easy to end up being nothing to no one. So being really specific about your ideal customer, what is the value that you're going to be able to provide. So certainly very key there. I think it's important to really have a passion for it, because there's very difficult days and long days, and you want to have a passion for the value that you're able to provide to individuals, whether you're working with individuals like a B2C company or B2B. As I said, or at the end of the day, working with people, want to have a passion for helping people in whichever capacity your business is going to do. So really want to have a passion for it, because otherwise it's probably not going to end up being that successful. And yeah, I mean, certainly quite a few, but those are the 2 top ones, I would say.
Awesome.
I think so much of it is, I mean, as you really need to last, not give up, and to last, so lots of businesses don't, of course, all the percentages, that fail in the first year, 2, 3, 5 years. So you need to manage cash effectively, and you need to last. But and being passionate about it, being specific about the value you can provide and to who, should really lead to success.
Excellent. And your journey really was personal trainer to where you and your company are at today. And I think that's an incredible journey. How can our viewers watching learn more about you, David, and AppSolve?
Yeah. So, on all social channels, at Absolve, a few variations of the handle in a few different places. Our major area would be LinkedIn, since we're a B2B company. But of course, all the other social platforms were there. Of course, our website, absolve.com. Also within the Salesforce ecosystem, there's an area platform called the App Exchange.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the iTunes for Salesforce consultants and applications that you can plug into your Salesforce system. So if you look us up on the App Exchange, you can also see our public listing talking about our expertise, the projects we've worked with, and ratings and reviews.
Excellent. Excellent. David, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for watching and listening to SYNCcast powered by Commercient. If you'd like to learn more about SYNC, ERP, and CRM data integration, please visit our website, commercient.com. Thank you.